Mm. Mm. God damn. Look how many shots it takes. Just a killer motherfucker.
Hostile UAV established overhead.
Tango front. Deploying mine.
Enemy CUAV inbound.
Using scout pulse.
Net cool, late Armstrong.
This is the president of the United States.
Flag and an American flag, and the fact that we were going to war against Russia. And I thought, and the song. What a waste of time. With the Soviet Union, I heard the song again coming in. That's what triggered this. So I had to
This is crazy.
But, you know, when the Soviet Union dissolved, I mean, 89, the wall came down. 91 is when we finally saw the Soviet Union dissolve. The world seemed, and this is me recalling my feeling, it just seemed like we were heading for a new, more peaceful era. And at the time, we were no longer haunted by the fear of a nuclear Armageddon. And the principal successor state from the wreckage of the USSR was a non-communist Russia that was intent on becoming part of the democratic capitalist West. They wanted a place at the table. You know, they wanted a place at the Thanksgiving table. They didn't want to sit at the card table with the kids and the Indian. They just wanted to be on the front line there. But it appears that some of the war hawks did not grow out of accusing Russia of being communist or adversaries to the United States. And of course, the war hawks, they can survive anything, including a nuclear war. Yeah, it will be the cockroaches, Lindsey Graham, John Bolton, and pieces of Cher that will survive the nuclear holocaust, I'm thinking, right? It's just our luck. The contrast between the benign end to the original Cold War and the current status of relations right now between the United States and Russia could not be greater or alarming. And just listening to that song just rubs my nose in this, and it makes me feel bad. The song,
I'm gonna do it.
Winds of Change. It's, a song. Beautiful song, and we felt something when the wall was coming down. I think Crosby, Stills, and Nash did a song too, if I recall, about the wall coming down. But we couldn't leave it alone long enough to, enjoy this newfound security we had with the idea that the nuclear bombs, were not going to fly. So we got NATO now meddling in this armed conflict between Ukraine and Russia. It's become an outright proxy war for our allies because, well, we have NATO's leaders in the United States pushing a series of extremely dangerous escalatory steps right now. And the latest provocation, of course, is the decision by the Biden administration in authorizing Ukraine to use long-range U.S. Army tactical missile systems, the ATACMS, 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 and they're capable of striking at least 190 miles inside Russia. So the response now is that Moscow has basically adopted a new nuclear doctrine, warning that the use of such missiles by NATO's Ukrainian proxy would mean that Moscow is officially at war with the U.S.-led alliance. And perhaps Russian President Vladimir Putin is bluffing, but he has been talking about the risk of a nuclear collision between NATO and Moscow, and the chances of that are becoming very high. Very high. And it's really ironic that the decision to let Ukraine use U.S. missiles that might trigger World War III has been made by the lamest of lame duck presidents. At the 59th minute of the 11th hour, the leaders of the Democratic Party pressured Biden to withdraw from the presidential race, and they did so because of his cognitive decline, evidence of cognitive decline, and it became undeniable. However, his hand-picked successor, Kamala Harris, then proceeded to lose the presidential election to Donald Trump. That spoke volumes. So to say that the Biden administration has no mandate to make such a crucial decision involving war and peace would be a monumental understatement. In fairness, though, the current foreign policy crew is not solely responsible for fouling up relations with Russia and provoking a new Cold War with nuclear implications. No, that achievement can be credited to top partisan war hawks who have been at this from Russiagate until now. They're unelected. And when the people spoke with the Donald Trump vote, they decided, in the last day's effort, the war hawks, they decided to show that they are most definitely in power and that Biden is only capable of pardoning Turkey. And there's no more laughter and joy from Kamala Harris either. She's disappeared. She's not on TV anymore. You ever see her? No. Even though we're told that she is involved with every important decision made by this administration. You think that she has a say in this last-ditch effort to start World War III? Hell no. She's licking her wounds somewhere. And it's uncertain whether President-elect Trump intends to end the impasse with Moscow now. Contrary to the partisan myth that Trump has been Putin's puppet, his actual policies during his first term were consistently hardline with Russia. One can hope, though, that he has fully understood what a disaster watching his love affair with Ukraine has become for both countries. Restoring cooperative bilateral relations with Russia, I believe, is essential for global peace. But where are we now? What road has Biden and his henchmen, what road have they chosen? What road are they choosing? It's not something that we want to be a part of, and it's something that we need to talk about and fight against.
Oh, good Lord.
503-225-0860. That's 503-225-0860. I'm Clay Lewis. You're listening to Ground Zero. I'll be back.
Oh, this single shot shit. I'm getting sick and tired of it. Shit. All I'm doing is dying for fucking nothing.
listening to Ground Zero. I'm Clyde Lewis. The numbers to call tonight, 503-225-0860. That's 503-225-0860. I worry that what is going on right now is so bad that Trump is not going to be able to back away from the abyss. Because we have a lame duck Biden, and the lame duck Biden administration holds power for nearly another 2 months. And if the administration leaders are so inclined, that is more than enough time to plunge the country into nuclear war. Doesn't take long. Doesn't take months. Because the conduct in the recent weeks from Biden, especially authorizing Ukraine to attack Russia with U.S.-supplied long-range missiles, is reckless. In fact, it's tantamount to being a war criminal, I believe. I don't know how you feel about it, but Biden's legacy is bad now. Biden's legacy, if you fought anybody out there who is a liberal who thinks that Biden is the greatest thing ever, no. What he's done right now is bad. Bad. Because it can become even worse. I hope we realize just how bad this is, because I know that people are like, well, he was a great presidency, better than Trump.
No.
Yeah, Trump didn't leave behind the prospects of World War III. I mean, we all know that following the election of President-elect Trump, the U.S. and its NATO allies began taking steps to rush weapons to Ukraine, give Kiev the ability to strike targets in territory with long-range weapons. And this was, of course, we brought that up right after the election, said it was too easy, it felt weird, and it did feel weird. And people agreed with me that it felt weird. Conspiracy theories aside, we were saying something is not right here. They may say that there's going to be a transference of power, and they're going to be looking forward to that transference of power. But this is not a good transition of power. Not when you look behind this huge mess. And so we had James Ponder on the program, speculating that, a conspiracy theory of escalation, saying that, hey, we're in this purgatory politically, where Biden can do anything, or those who are around him can do anything. And so what? It went from conspiracy theory to escalation. That became a reality 1 week after we reported it. Desperate to bolster Ukraine's standing in the war before the transition of power on January 20th, the Biden administration is now looking at a range of serious escalation. U.S. and European officials are discussing deterrence. I was reading about this today, deterrence. U.S. and European officials are discussing deterrence. You know what deterrence means, right? Yeah, nuclear weapons. Because they want a security guarantee for Ukraine. Now, they're saying they want a stockpile of conventional arsenals sufficient to strike a punishing blow if Russia violates ceasefire. But when they say deterrence, you know what deterrence means. For those of us who are Cold War babies, we know what deterrence means. But of course, there's now this possibility that Biden and the war hawking chief are not beyond the probability of sending nuclear weapons to Ukraine for what they believe would be a deterrence. Now, am I reading into this, or do you understand deterrence and what deterrence means? The facts of what deterrence means. Cold War babies, we are. Cold War babies we have become. Cold War babies we're able to look back with wisdom and say the word deterrence means nuclear weapons for Ukraine. According to the New York Times, I'm reading this today, several officials have suggested that Mr. Biden should return nuclear weapons to Ukraine
scared the shit out of me.
after the fall of the Soviet Union. According to some officials who spoke with the Times, the administration believes that Russian President Vladimir Putin won't significantly escalate the war until Trump returns to the Oval Office. Continuing on, it says, but the escalation risk of allowing Ukraine to strike Russia with U.S.-supplied weaponry has diminished with the election of Mr. Trump. The report adds, the Biden administration officials believe, calculating that Putin of Russia knows he has to wait only 2 months for the administration. So that assessment is based on the belief that Trump and his incoming director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, will take a more favorable stance on Russia. Much of the American class, though, has cast Trump and Gabbard as agents of Russia. You understand this? However, there have been extensive investigations into Trump's ties to the Kremlin that have come up empty. Russiagate is nonsense. Russiagate has always been nonsense. And additionally, the Times has reported that there was no evidence that Tulsi Gabbard was in any way an asset of Putin. Russiagate refuses to die, ladies and gentlemen. It refuses to die, but it certainly can play a role in our deaths. It may be fake, it may not be true, but it refuses to die, and that plays a role in our deaths because deaths of millions could happen because of a nuclear escalation. I know it's unthinkable, but so are a lot of things in this timeline. Former military commander-in-chief and Ukraine's current ambassador to the UK, his name is Valery Zaluzny. He warned that World War III is already underway in a recent interview published by Bloomberg. I believe that in 2024, we can absolutely believe that the Third World War has begun. He goes on to reference the greater internationalization of the war with the presence of North Korean troops, Iranian technology on the battlefield, as well as Chinese support to Moscow. He says it's obvious that Ukraine already has too many enemies. Ukraine will survive with technology, but it's not clear whether it can win this battle alone. He continues to say in the interview that Chinese weapons are being used by Iranian and North Korean arms because in 2024, Ukraine is no longer facing Russia. Soldiers from North Korea are standing in front of Ukraine. Continues. It's still possible to stop here on the territory of Ukraine, but for some reason, our partners do not want to understand this. It is obvious that Ukraine already has too many enemies. Ukraine will survive with the technology, etc., etc., etc. But it's certainly not merely the Russian side, which has an outside assistance. The West support in Ukraine has been much more direct, including billions of dollars of weaponry, F-16 fighter jets, anti-air systems, and medium and long-range missiles. They've all been given to Ukraine along with training for all those systems. Western advisors have, without a doubt, have long been on the ground assisting Ukrainian intelligence and military officers. Moscow says this is why. Moscow says this is why we are driving and we are moving towards escalation. Meanwhile, Rob McGowan, the deputy chief of the British Defense Staff, told the House of Commons Defense Committee last week, he says, if the British Army was asked to fight tonight, we would fight tonight. He said, quote, I don't think anybody in this room should be under any illusion that if the Russians invaded Eastern Europe tonight, then we would meet them in that fight. At the same time, Washington has also been escalating, seeking to send as much in the way of arms and money to Kiev as the Biden administration can before Trump takes office on January 20th. Push, 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 and push. Critics have blasted this as reckless and an obvious recipe for runaway escalation. Well, it appears that we need to do more than that, than criticize. Kamala Harris is nowhere to be seen, even though she suggested during her campaign that she's always there during big decisions. Biden would...
Hold off that for a second.
was last seen getting lost in the Amazon jungle,
Mm-hmm.
while at the same time able to give the go-ahead for escalation and decapitation stance against Russia. Today, he was
Mm-hmm.
pardoning turkeys.
Mm-hmm.
He can do that without a problem. Oh, well, even they were saying that maybe he screwed up a little bit with some sort of a tasty tater tot dish that the Midwesterners love to eat. And that he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He just said that the turkeys love to eat hot tater tot dish.
Hot tater tot dish.
503-225-0860. That's 503-225-0860. I'm Clyde Lewis. You're listening to Ground Zero, and we'll be back.
Long-range missiles provided by the US into Russia, hitting an ammunition storage facility near the Russian city of Karachay. The attack, 75 miles from the border with Ukraine, is the first such assault to use long-range NATO-made arms.
This broadcast will deliver authenticated information on the situation to the American people in order to maintain transparency. NORAD is putting in a continuous effort to determine the missile target. The U.S. National Missile Defense System is looking for opportunities to guard your home against the effects of an atomic explosion. All right, you say. What can I do about it?
Mm-hmm.
First, let's begin with this.
Oh.
Prepare a kit, include enough bottled water, raisins, chocolate, canned food, tableware, a first aid kit, Vaseline jelly, and sunburn cream. But most important is to cook hard. You can easily turning your house into an ideal shelter.
This is important to remember. Your survival chances are excellent. If you close the windows,
Trim your troubles
if possible,
with citizens. Your duty. You at center part. Don't let it go your way of life. Have you
all this clear so far, mister?
survival is assured.
I'm Clyde Lewis. You are listening to Ground Zero. The numbers to call tonight, 503-225-0860. 503-225-0860. Every day, I read about just the dangerous path we are on right now. And I don't know if you feel justified. I don't know if you feel frightened or terrified of this. I am. I'm very terrified of this. I don't know what it's going to mean for me or you or where you are in location to a military target or something. I know that Russia would be as bold as to attack the target in the United States. I've heard they want to attack the base in Poland. But of course that was 3 days ago. Still we're seeing the restraint. Still we're seeing weapons being used near Moscow. And that's let's put a Bob. Calling from Moscow, Russia. Hey, Bob, you're on Ground Zero.
Hey, good evening. This is a desperate attempt by the Biden administration and the powers to be to start a third world war or a major escalation so so that Biden can declare a state of emergency, which means there will be no transition of power until that state of emergency is lifted.
Can you imagine a military operation in the United States telling Biden, or at least basically counseling Biden and or Kamala Harris as to what to do with the war?
Oh, it'd be crazy because back in early September, I had a drone fly right over by my apartment. You heard it at about 3 o'clock in the morning. About maybe a couple minutes later, it exploded.
Wow.
You know,
So
that's
they're
not
getting that close, right? They're getting that close with a weapon.
Oh, they had the ability to do it anytime they wanted to. It's just Zelensky is a puppet, and nothing will be done until...
You there? Just cut him off. If we can call him back, or if we can get him back, we just lost Bob. Seriously. So call back. Please, if you can get through. I don't know what's going on with your number. Go to Dave in Arizona. Hey Dave, you're on ground zero.
Hey, Clyde, good evening. Yeah, so Biden was at a farewell dinner, apparently, and he had the gall to say that he's going to be leading the country better than it was when he took over, which is amazing considering that we're on the precipice of World War III.
Right.
I read the article you mentioned. I read it in Zero Hedge, and there was also another article in the Gateway Pundit from a Polish minister who said that half of the U.S. aid that we've been sending over there to Ukraine is laundered, and much of it is given to the Democrats, which is surprising to no one, actually. RFK Jr. mentioned that that Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. Well, if Putin decides to nuke Ukraine because they're not NATO, well, good luck. There's your breadbasket. It's nuclear now, or it's radiating.
Well, see, that's the thing. Is I really don't think the strategy would be for him to nuke Ukraine. I would say that the strategy would be for Ukraine to try and nuke Russia. And what we'd see is we'd see Russia having to move out of the Kremlin to change and set up their government elsewhere. That's what I see in the future. I see, every time we hear the saber rattling from Putin, we don't see anything. The red line is crossed. So who's going to throw the first stone? I have a feeling it's going to be David. Throw to Goliath. Goliath is going to take a big hit. They're not going to run away scared. They're just going to take a big hit, and then they'll find another country that they can, drop a bomb on. And when they do, they will raise our supply, and we'll have 5-6 nations jumping on board for a war.
Well, part of the problem that I have with this is that Lindsey Graham said, well, there's $12 trillion worth of rare minerals in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we were in Iraq, there was talk about the oil, how much revenue we were going to get from the oil. In Afghanistan, when we left Afghanistan, we left all of the rare minerals there so that China could just move right in and take them. And so reality is we're not going to see a single freaking dime from this. This is all about these war hawks having their pockets while everybody else, fights. And which one of those politicians is going to send their kids or their grandkids over there to fight and die? None of them.
No.
It's going to be, it's going to be your stepson. It's going to be
here's the thing that sucks, and Americans don't know the power they have. They really don't. I mean, if we're going to roll over and play dead for this, I don't understand how. I mean, look, in South America, if something goes down, like when I was in Buenos Aires, if something went down that they didn't approve of, the government did, or the military government did, they'd do a paro total. You know what that is? That would be a nationwide strike. Transportation would go on strike, deliveries would go on strike, everybody would go on strike, and it would put the nation at a standstill until they stop doing what they're doing. Otherwise, we're giving them our consent by not saying anything about what they're doing, bringing us closer to World War III. The American people, I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know what stupor they're in. I think maybe they're still in their honeymoon with Trump, but it's not working.
Well, part of it, and I think that would be great too. I don't know if we would see that here in this country. But another reason that they have to push this is because Trump is going to go through and get rid of all the DEI stuff. He's going to get rid of all the woke generals. There's talk about him getting all the transgender out of the military. I don't know that that's going to happen. But and the
But see, none
Pentagon
of that-
failed like a 7 on it, so it's like they've got to cover their tracks. And
But
what
none
better
of
way to
that's
do it?
going to matter for World War III. Everything's going
Right,
to
exactly.
it's
That's
going
what
to be nothing. I mean, it's like all of this transgender stuff, all of this homophobia stuff, all these LGBTQ rights stuff, all the ideas of whether or not someone can go in a bathroom or not, all these things are going to get abolished and shoved down, shoved in that fuzzy little place, and no one's going to care because what they're going to be worried about is whether or not a bomb's going to drop in the backyard.
Yeah. Well, we're here in southern Arizona, right next to an Air Force base, so I'm sure we're probably somewhere on the
Everybody's a target in the United States, especially when they're going to be lobbing bombs. Especially when you have other countries that can lob bombs besides Russia, too. They can find a reason to make an excuse to make everybody unhappy, and they can do it really bad. They can call 503-225-0860. That's 503-225-0860. This is a very important moment in history. A time where we can go in and maybe right the wrongs, but it doesn't seem like the American people have any idea what they can do to stop this. We need to do something. 503-225-0860. Back on Ground Zero, don't go away. All right, we got Moscow Bob back. Let's get him back on. Hey, Moscow Bob, you're back on Ground Zero. Go ahead.
Hey, sorry about that. I don't know if it was connection on your end or my end. But this whole thing, the world needs to understand Putin is using great reserve and not retaliating. If he really, from the get-go, if his whole purpose was to expand into Europe, he would have just obliterated Kyiv right away.
Well, I would say the reason why he's using the restraint is because we're looking at, he looks at Kyiv as part of Russia. And he looks at Ukraine as his Russian, yeah, he looks at his co-patriot. I would say, like I say, I don't think that he would do anything like drop a nuclear bomb on any part of Ukraine. But I wouldn't put it past him to say, we're going to lob a bomb at Poland, or we're going to lob a bomb at Germany or France. I could see that happen.
See, I don't see it happening against Poland because Poland wants their part of Ukraine back that they lost it. Yeah, I don't see it happening against Poland. Putin knows that Poland wants their part of Ukraine back that they lost it. Yeah, I don't see it happening against Poland. Putin knows that Poland wants their part of Ukraine back.
Nice. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. Oh, shit. I'm tired of this, man. Mm. Oh. Oops. Keep all my subscriptions. So, no, okay. Valentine's Day? Bummer. I thought this sounded familiar. Good Lord. Listen to the same shit. Ah.
Capture the objective. Securing C. Taking Bravo. Charlie.
Threat clear.
Bravo underway. Taking B. Losing
That's
Charlie.
5 kills.
Taking Alpha. We're ahead. Stay alert. Down. Down Charlie. Losing Bravo.
Haven't finished killing them yet. Ooh. 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 Oh. Excuse me. Ugh. Oh, God, you stupid people, get the fuck out of my way. Good Lord. Oh shit, that is fucked up. Pause this for a second.